Hello action figure fans, this is HammerTron here with a new action figure review for you. This time I am reviewing the Abomination Build-A-Figure, the Gamerverse version of Abomination. I have already reviewed each individual action figure in this wave. I put them in the packages. I like the packages, especially the window boxes, so I can see the action figures. This is nice for display, and it's also good for storage. So I will take out the pieces and put together the Abomination figure in just a moment. Here are all the figures in this Abomination Build-A-Figure wave and the pieces they come with. The Gamerverse Captain America did not come with any parts. Looks like Ms. Mar-Vell, physically the smallest character here, came with the largest pieces. So that's not a surprise to balance out the weight. Usually the largest figure in the wave comes with the head of the Build-A-Figure. So Mach 1 came with the Abomination head. I think he's considered the largest because of his wings there. Otherwise it would be Rage. Rage is physically the largest out of the already assembled figures. So looks like a very big Build-A-Figure. Here's one of the legs standing in front of Iron Man. So looks like, well, the leg's about as tall as Iron Man's legs, except it's much thicker. So all the joints are working pretty well on this. So I've already tried out the joints and they're working, so I'm very happy about that. And it's certainly interesting to see how the body is put together. Looks like we have to snap in the chest plate, but we get to see the inside and how it works. So we have some little holes here, and the pegs are on this part. So the head will go up here on this little ball joint. We have to plug in the arms here, and there's the abdomen. So looks like that part has a little bit of articulation there. And the legs, this part works. So that's a good sign. And it moves around a little bit. So looks like everything's working very nicely so far. And the arms are huge, and we can see the peg here, and the joints are working, so that's good. And I expect it to turn in the shoulder socket. We have a bicep cut here, single jointed elbow, and also a rotation at the elbow, and the wrist can turn, and there's a hinge. And same thing with this arm. So everything is working correctly. So I'm happy that everything's working. The fingers are thinner plastic, so a little more pliable. They will bend. And with the legs, there's an extra little claw piece here, but it does not articulate. There are peg holes on the bottom of the feet on both of them. And the joints are working. So very nice. So I think it's a nice selection of characters. And the pieces look good, so I'll put the Abomination together and we'll see how he looks. Here is the Abomination Build-A-Figure. This is based on the Gamerverse version of Abomination that's from a video game. I haven't played the game, but I do like the figure here. So it looks a little different from the comic book version of the Abomination. Let's see how tall this figure is. According to the tape measure, up to the top of the head there, it's about 9 inches tall, or just shy of 23 centimeters tall. So that's a very nicely sized figure. So the Abomination, well, this is the Gamerverse version, so it looks a little different. I think it has more spikes and maybe more scale detail than the comic book version. So we have some spikes on the shoulders here, kind of sharp. Some spikes on the elbows. Those are kind of sharp and hard. Some spikes on the back of the head, but these are soft and rubbery. And the spikes on the spine here, these are kind of soft and rubbery, pliable. And some spikes on the calves, these are kind of hard and sharp. Well, it's just a little pliable, but not nearly as pliable as these here. Then we have a lot of sculpted detail, some pretty rough looking skin there. And the fingers are kind of a pliable plastic because it's thin plastic. But it doesn't look like the claws are painted. So they missed a little bit of paint detail there. But there's a lot of painting all across the body here. So looks pretty nice. However, I think maybe on the jaw here that's a bit too light compared to the rest of the body here. And then we have a pair of tattered pants. Now on the legs, the tattered pants are a little bit pliable plastic that seems to be attached to the leg pieces, so that moves a little bit. And one major, very noticeable difference is, I think with the Gamerverse version, it has these extra little claws here on the feet. Kind of like a maybe like a velociraptor dinosaur or something. So the comic book version certainly doesn't have these little claws here. And we have peg holes on the bottom of the feet and the clawed toes. Now, maybe they should have put some paint there. So it's very large and muscular figure. It's a little heavy, so I'm pretty happy about how heavy it is. So let's take a look at the articulation. Now with the head, well, it's kind of a hunchback figure, so the head is jutting forward a little bit. So we can raise and lower the head just a little bit. You can look up just a little bit, look down some more, and turn side to side just a little bit. And the tilting is like that. And I did not notice this at first, but there are butterfly joints on this figure. So if we turn the arm, we can get more movement out of this butterfly joint here. So we have to turn the arm in order to get it to move more. Otherwise, some of the arm sculpt will get in the way. And we can extend only this far, so not very far out. That's too bad. And we can turn around. There's a bicep cut. So that works. Actually, when I'm turning this, it seems to be turning mostly between the shoulder there and the elbow. So it's not making the whole arm move unless I hold it together. So the bicep cut works. At the elbow, it's a single jointed elbow, moving that far in, so about 90 degrees, so pretty good. And there's a swivel at the elbow, so that works. And at the wrist, we can turn the wrist, and there's a hinge. We can turn the wrist, and there's a hinge. This one's pretty loose though. And we have a diaphragm cut where we can crunch forward just that much, back just that much, go all the way around. Well, actually we can go back more. Ah, very good. So nice range of movement there. There is no waist twist. And the splits, pretty nice on this figure. and kick forward just that much. Kick back a little bit. Kick forward that much. And back just a little bit. And there's an upper thigh cut. Now this is where we attach the legs, and it serves as the upper thigh cut, so we can turn here. So that's working. And that is working. And we have double jointed knees. These are a little bit ratcheted. So that's working. So the knees are ratcheted, although this one is getting just a little bit loose already. There are no boot cuts or thigh cuts here, or not thigh, but calf cuts. The ankles, we can go down. Very impressive. Go up. And we have ankle pivot. So all of the joints are working. They're working pretty smoothly, although some of them seem to be a bit loose already, so maybe too smoothly. Now it is a warm summer day as I work on this, so perhaps the warm air is making the joints move smoothly. I'll have to try again in the winter to see how it works. And then we want to move the arm, get the triceps out of the way so we can get the arms closer to the body. And then we can get him standing straight and tall and looking like the intimidating monster that he is. So it's looking pretty cool. Here is the entire wave for the Abomination Build-A-Figure. I think it's a very nice selection of characters for action figures, so I have no complaints about the character selection. Now I'm going to rank these from least favorite to favorite. The least favorite is Rage, because I think that figure out of all these had the most problems, the greatest potential for quality control issues. So that's at the bottom. Then next it's Captain America. I like the figure, but there are a lot of different Captain America figures, so it doesn't need to be ranked higher. And then Iron Man. That's a very nice Iron Man figure, but there are lots of Iron Man action figures, so I'm ranking that lower. And then Ms. Mar-Vell. I don't particularly care for that character, but at least it's a nice figure. However, I think it's identical to a previous release, except just a different paint job. So that's why it's getting a lower ranking. And then the next one is Mach 1. I do like the design for Mach 1. However, I think it's a very plain design. I think it's mostly just molded in that color plastic, so not a lot of paint details. So that's not too bad. And then next is Captain Mar-Vell, or Mar-Vell. So I do like that figure. I think it's a very nicely done action figure. And then the next one is the Leader. I simply enjoy that design. I like the very large head on that figure. And so my favorite out of the wave is the Abomination. I really like how large it is and how heavy it is. There is just a little problem with the ankle, where I think the ankle is a bit weak, but so far I have not really had any problems with that figure. So the Abomination is my favorite out of the entire wave. Here is the Abomination with a pair of 4-inch action figures. This time on the left is the Adventurer from an Animal Planet set I reviewed a while ago, and in the Abomination's left hand is Fortnite Jonesy by Jazzwares. And I had to carefully balance the figure because of the weak ankle when the hand stretched out in front of the figure while holding the Jonesy figure. That throws the Abomination off balance pretty easily. So it does have a pretty weak ankle, but still looks cool. It makes a great monster for the 4-inch scale action figures. Here's the Abomination with a 6-inch action figure on the left, the Fortnite Legendary Series Havoc action figure by Jazzwares, and a 7-inch action figure on the right, the Masters of the Universe Masterverse He-Man action figure by Mattel. And the Abomination just makes a great monster that goes along with 6 or 7-inch action figures. Here is the Abomination next to a pair of Build-A-Figures or collective build figures. On the left is the Mar-Vell Legends Crimson Dynamo by Hasbro, and on the right is the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse collective build Atrocitus figure. And the Abomination is impressively sized next to them. He is taller than the Crimson Dynamo, but just a little shorter than the Atrocitus figure. But out of all of these, the Abomination is the heaviest figure. So it's a nice little collection here. The HammerTron Sledgehammer rating for this Abomination Build-A-Figure is, it's okay. I really like how it looks, and all the joints are actually moving correctly. However, the joints are getting pretty loose. I especially noticed that with the ankle joint here, so it makes it a little hard for it to stand sometimes unless I balance it carefully. But all the other joints are actually working pretty nicely. So thank you for watching my review. Remember to like the video, leave a comment, let me know what you think of this Build-A-Figure, and subscribe to my channel to keep up to date with my future reviews. I'll see you next time, action figure fans.